Hello, guys. Welcome to another special edition of Pious Football. We discuss tactical analysis of games. We talk about transfer news across all European leagues, and also we discuss pertinent issues around football that you don't hear on the mainstream. So, if you are here and your first time, this is Pious Football. We are welcome. This today is Tuesday. It's Champions League night, and it was massive games that happened this evening from Manchester United to Arsenal. Bayern Munich played earlier on in the early kickoff. Inter Milan also was in the mix. It was an interesting night, especially at Old Trafford. Very emotional night at Old Trafford. Manchester United won by a long goal scored by Harry Maguire, who was the hero of the night. But a lot of talking points from the game. My first topic for discussion from the Manchester United versus Copenhagen game is that of the tribute to Sir Bobby Charlton. Remember, in my previous episode, I spoke about the tribute that Manchester United were preparing for Sir Bobby Charlton, the legend, at Old Trafford, which was our first home game after his passing. So it was always going to be an emotional night. The game started a bit earlier because of the tribute organizing the tribute ceremony before the kickoff. So the game, I think the players, both the Copenhagen players and United players, came on the pitch a bit earlier than usual. It was actually pre-programmed in a match day preparations, and Eric Ten Hag came on the field with Alex Stepney. Alex Stepney was an old a former teammate of Sir Bobby Charlton in the 1966 English national team that won the World Cup. Alex Stepney was the famous goalkeeper in post, and accompanied by the under-18s captain Dan Gore, who actually appeared on the pitch with a bagpiper who was giving the sort of to provide that musical solemnness that the occasions actually demands. The wreath was laid at the center circle by Eric Ten Hag before a minute's silence was observed by the crowd, and then after that, the wreath was actually sent to the stands and put on the seat that Sir Bobby Charlton actually sits on when he visits Old Trafford to watch a football game. So overall, it was an emotional night. The United fans obviously had tributes for the manager in the stadium. Already we have the Sir Bobby Charlton stand. So I mean, the fans on that stand actually held up some sort of tribute to the legend, and also a bit of actually something that we would want to commend the Copenhagen fans. A touch of class by the Danish fans is the fact that they actually also put up a tribute to Sir Bobby Charlton. Although he never played for Copenhagen, they actually joined in paying their respects to the legend. It's actually very nice to see the Copenhagen fans doing that for Sir Bobby Charlton. I'm sure his family will be very proud of what the Danish fans did at Old Trafford. Now, coming to the game, it was end-to-end stuff, but I'm not really impressed with the overall game. Manchester United could have done better in the first half, but I think that I said this in my previous episode that in occasions where Manchester United are playing a game before, they seem to honor a dead hero of the club, especially during the Munich air disaster remembrance days. Okay, when we play a game on that day, usually 6th February games, we tend to not really do well, especially in the first half. It seems like the players get a bit emotional with the whole tribute, and then it affects the performance. That is the same thing that happened today. the performance in the first half wasn't good. Although a lot of the blame probably might go to the midfielders, Scott McTominay and Amrabat were not really pushing the ball through the midfield to the attackers. So Copenhagen dominated the midfield in the first half. Mind you, Erik ten Hag actually said a lot of good things about the Copenhagen team before the game during the pre-match analysis press conference. He said that Copenhagen are a very strong team and that United need to be very careful. Of course, we needed to get our first win in the Champions League, so it was a must win for Manchester United. So obviously, it was always going to be difficult. It was an emotional night, like I said. So the players sort of had to get in the groove early on, but unfortunately for us, the Copenhagen midfield was really strong. But the manager made the right changes in the second half, bringing on the Danish midfielder maestro Christian Eriksen. This is the first time that Eriksen is actually playing against a Danish club in his career, so I'm sure it's one of those freak occurrences for the player. But he changed the game, and no wonder that he was given the man of the match award. I mean, he was fantastic in the second half. The ball distribution was spot on. He was able to be that link from the defense to the attack, and he made the game flow exactly the way the manager planned the game, before the start, of the match. So credit to Christian Eriksen for changing the game in the second half. And he created a lot of chances for Manchester United. Unfortunately, we squandered chances up front. Rashford being very wasteful. His form this season has been very poor for Manchester United. So I don't know if it's going to. I don't know what it's going to take for Rashford to start scoring for Manchester United. But the drought continues for Rashford this season in a Manchester United jersey. Also, I want to talk about Rasmus Højlund. So he grew up in Copenhagen. He started playing for Brøndby, okay, before he went to Copenhagen as a teenager. Unfortunately, his career didn't take off so much at Copenhagen because of the fact that they had other options in attack. And I think the Manchester Evening News actually did an editorial about the rise of Højlund, and they interviewed one of the youth coaches at Copenhagen, and he confessed that Højlund wasn't really a special talent as a teenager. They actually felt that his talent was actually very normal or average as compared to the other young talent that he had at the team. And so they are actually very surprised that Højlund has actually reached this level so early in his career. It is no surprise that they actually sold him to Storm Graz. They sold him to Storm Graz for somewhere around less than 2 million euros. And then a year after that, he was sold to Atlanta for 17 million euros. So from Atlanta to Manchester United, I think it took just a year, and he has actually developed so well, and a lot of that is credit to his own hard work. Now, a lot of people who know Højlund have confessed to the Manchester Evening News that the boy has actually improved because of his own tenacity in his personal development. He has his own personal training sessions. After training, he actually spends a lot of time training by himself. He has a personal trainer who helps him to develop his movement as a striker, when to move, when to run, and stuff like that. And that has actually improved his personal development, and that is testament to actually where he has reached right now. And a lot of people at Copenhagen are very surprised about the meteoric rise of Rasmus Højlund at this stage. But I mean, it's kudos to the guy Unfortunately, he couldn't score against his childhood club. This is the first time he's not scored a goal in the Champions League in a United jersey. The previous two matches that he's played, he scored 3 goals. But I'm sure he will be very happy for this game because we actually won. We got the vital 3 points, which was very important for us. So, I mean, Hoyland, playing against Denmark, the Denmark team, and also a bit of information here is that his twin younger brothers, are actually also playing for Copenhagen. One of his twin brothers played in the under 19 UEFA. Game before the big game at Old Trafford, and they won against the United under 19 team. And then his twin brother on the bench came on late on in the game, I think after the 90th minute. So I mean, the Hoyland family will be really happy today that three of their family are played in the game today. So I mean, a bit of Hoyland in there, and then also Harry Maguire. Another big talking point is Harry Maguire, and I mean, this is a guy who was almost about to be sold by Manchester United in the summer. Eric Ten Hag wanted to sell Maguire. I mean, everyone thought that it was best that Maguire left because of the poor form that he's been showing, since Eric Ten Hag, came on the scene. I mean, look at if you look at how he has, fought himself back into the team. I mean, I think he was interviewed somewhere in April of this year, and then that was last season, the ending of last season, somewhere around April. He played a game, I think, against Crystal Palace or something, and he was playing as a left centre back, and he was really poor. And I think that Eric Ten Hag felt, he was asked after the game if Harry Maguire playing as a left centre back was an option for him, and he said categorically that no, he's not going to play Maguire as a left centre back because he struggles on the left side. But if you look at the game that he played today, he played as a left centre back, and he was so excellent on the day, scoring the vital goal. Sometimes, pinpoint, like, kind of being able to actually read the game and know when to actually go forward and join the attack as a defender. And then if you look at the way he scored the goal, it wasn't a set piece, it was against the run of play. So it's testament to his improvement, and how he has improved, and his abilities, his mental ability, his mental fortitude, against the fact that he's been ridiculed by fans, he's been ridiculed by pundits across the football world. But Harry Maguire is still in the mix, and he has forced himself back into Eric Ten Hag's plans. And I'm sure that come the transfer window in January, United will be looking to sell some players. But I tell you that Maguire is not going to be one of those names that are going to be moved on. So I think that kudos to Harry Maguire. I mean, he has surprised a lot of people. But for me, I want to say on Pious Football that Maguire is someone I have always felt had a bit of a difficult spell because of the way he was mismanaged by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I mean, if you look at the Solskjaer tenor, he was overplayed. Even when he was injured, he was being played. So I think that the man management and that the Solskjaer administration actually caused what we saw in Maguire. But slowly he's beginning to recover that bad spell, and I think that going forward we are going to see a lot more of Harry Maguire. Mind you, he was also a target for Manchester City. Pep Guardiola wanted Maguire, so it shows you that as at the time he was playing for Leicester City, moving from Sheffield to Leicester City, he was top notch, and we bought him from Leicester City at that price because of how he was playing. Okay, so let's see if we can see that Maguire in the team. I mean, it's always going to be extra motivation for the defenders. I mean, Lisandro Martinez coming back, I mean, it means that you're not going to just walk into the team because Maguire is there. You have to fight your way back into the team. So I mean, it's all good for the Manchester United defense. Another player I want to talk about is Andre Onana. And like I said, football is a very difficult and painful sport if you are at the other end of the pundits. Okay, pundits are so quick to condemn players without giving them even a chance, to actually wait things out and try and get acclimatized to their new environment. And that is the case of Andre Onana coming to the EPL. He's had a lot of struggles, and of course he's going to leak in goals if the defense is not really organized. We've had a very disorganized defense, a lot of problems in our midfield, and obviously, a lot of shots are going to come. And it shows in the statistics that Andre Onana has received more shots to him than any other goalkeeper in the Premier League. And for a top club like Manchester United, you cannot actually allow teams to be playing shots at you, at such a rapid pace. And even if you are, Casillas or Buffon or whatever Dida, you are going to concede goals under this Manchester United team when they have so much disorganization in midfield and in defense. So I mean, I thought that the pundits would be a bit more forthright, forward thinking, and try to pick out some of these, inconsistencies in front of Onana as some of the reasons why he's struggling. But unfortunately, a lot of them were criticizing the goalkeeper. A person like Peter Schmeichel said he spoke to Andre Onana and tried to encourage him, but then he said that he needs to improve. Of course, he needs to improve. A lot of the mistakes he was making was because of the added pressure of conceding a lot of goals, the psychological effect that he has on a goalkeeper. So, I mean, a lot of things was happening, but I think that today the performance was excellent, and the fact that he saved a penalty at the last minute shows that it's going to galvanize his psychology, his mentality. Is going to be top notch. We have a game against Manchester City next weekend, so hopefully the big results today, this evening, is going to galvanize the way the team is going to play on the weekend. So let's see how that goes. But overall, I'm very happy for Harry Maguire and Andre Onana, who have been, they've had a lot of stick over the last couple of months, but today they've actually shown that they are capable. That United, the United team is going to be able to sail through this difficult spell, if Maguire and Andre Onana actually improve like they've done and they've shown this evening. So it's all good for Manchester United. Vital 3 points. Hopefully another game next week against Copenhagen at Denmark. If we can win that game, it's going to set us up very nicely to try and see if we can finish in the second favorite team. But unfortunately, it's going to be very difficult. I think for me, I'm predicting a third place for Manchester United and the Europa League berth for us. So let's see how that goes. Now, also Arsenal beat Sevilla 2-1. Gabriel Jesus and Martinelli, who is back from injury, on the score sheet. Martinelli showing how important he is to the team. Mind you, in his absence, Trossard was playing, the Belgian international, scoring goals. But Martinelli has come back. He scored, which means that, he's telling, Trossard that, look, I'm back, so you better, go back to the bench. But overall, Arsenal played really well. Playing against Sevilla at the Estadio Sanchez Pizjuan is not, it's not an easy thing to do. And so, I mean, Sevilla with the we're losing at home, Arsenal getting a win at Sevilla is actually very massive, very important. Mind you that they went to France against Lens and lost. So, I mean, winning against Sevilla was actually a very good move for Arsenal, and it's going to set them up very nicely to be top of the group that they are. So, I mean, kudos to Arsenal. I think the only bad news for Arsenal on the night was the fact that they lost Gabriel Jesus to injury. He signaled the bench that he has a hamstring, and hamstrings are actually very, difficult injuries because they tend to keep the players out for quite some time. So let's hope that it is not as serious as it looks, and that Gabriel Jesus will is going to be back. He suffered quite a number of injuries, which has actually hampered his career at Arsenal. So let's see if there will be good news for Arsenal and Gabriel Jesus. But overall, important 3 points for Arsenal on the night. Also at the camp of Bayern Munich, Bayern Munich also beat Galatasaray 3-1. Important win. I mean, I was watching the game. I was really excited because I felt that Galatasaray winning was going to be bad for Manchester United. So I mean, I was supporting Bayern, and I'm glad that Bayern actually beat Galatasaray. This is a very important win for Bayern on so many levels. Now, as a host of records have been set by this win that Bayern have chalked against Galatasaray. It was always going to be a difficult game, but it didn't look so difficult on the night. The second half was completely open, and Bayern completely took over the game. They defended very well, and then some very crucial counter-attacking game actually yielded the results, at the end. Harry Kane, Kingsley Coman, and Jamal Musiala on the score sheet. Musiala, the young chap, galvanizing the midfield, controlling the midfield so well. I mean, he's playing so matured football. He's playing top-notch football even as a 21-year-old. So, I mean, Bayern Munich on the night, a host of records. I think they are the first team in the Champions League to actually win 8 straight away games. Okay, the first team in the Champions League history to win 8 straight away games. This is massive. They are also the first team in the Champions League history to win 38 and 37 group stage wins. Okay, they have 37 group stage wins consecutively. This is massive. They are also the first team in the Champions League to win 16 straight wins in the group stage. So I mean, a host of amazing, powerful records, by Bayern Munich. They are one of those teams that have made Champions League their favorite competition, and they always seem to do very well. Either they play into the semis or in the final or in the quarterfinal. I think their worst performance probably for the last 5 to 10 years has been the quarterfinal. So Bayern Munich showing their class on the night, and then I think that is going to set them up very nicely to be the top the top leaders of the group, as it should. When the draw was made, everybody knew Bayern was going to be the top dog, and they are showing it exactly in the results this evening. Also, Inter Milan beat Salzburg 2-1. Crucial goal. I mean, their free agent striker they brought in the summer, Marcus Thuram, on the score sheet once again. But on the night, I want to talk about Oscar Gluck. Oscar Gluck. Okay, he is an Israeli talent, 21-year-old. If those of you who have been following my channel, I made an episode some time ago and I spoke about the rise of Israeli football. Okay, I spoke about how Israel football was rising. Mind you, they won the Under-20 World Cup. They were instrumental in the Under-21 European champion. So progressively, their football is showing signs of improvement, and a lot of talent are rising from Israeli football. And one of those is Oscar Gluck. He plays for RB Salzburg. I made mention of him. Remind you, there is another guy at Tottenham Hotspur, Manos Solomon from Tottenham Hotspur, also an Israeli talent. So I mean, Oscar Gluck is one of those players you want to watch out for the future, and a host of other clubs, top clubs in Europe, are actually monitoring the player. So I mean, he scored a goal on the night. He made 80% passing accuracy. So I mean, the guy is actually meant for greatness. Oscar Gluck, and on Pious Football, I am saying that watch out for this name, Oscar Gluck, an Israeli talent playing for RB Salzburg. Also at the camp of Kylian Mbappe, I want to talk about Mbappe. I mean, I think PSG will be playing tomorrow against AC Milan in the group of death, and Mbappe will be playing against AC Milan. I think this will be the first time he will be coming up against AC Milan. Now, actually, AC Milan are known to be one of the favorite teams of Kylian Mbappe. When he was growing up as a child, AC Milan was one of the teams he supported. He made an interview some time ago, and he made mention of the fact that when he was a baby, he was a child growing up, he was a young boy, one of his nannies was actually Italian, and that, anytime she came over, she would be watching AC Milan games because she was an AC Milan fan, and so that actually made him watch AC Milan. Now, if you look at Mbappe's age, now it puts you somewhere around 2000, and growing up, as a 6, 7 year old boy. If you look at that time, that was somewhere around 2006, 2007, the early 2000s. AC Milan was actually a very good team. They were playing some, top football with top class players. That was the height of AC Milan before they started to dwindle. And it is no surprise that Mbappe actually grew up to love AC Milan. So I mean, he will be playing against his childhood team tomorrow evening. So let's see how that goes. Important story that I want to make this evening before I close the chapter on tonight is the fact that Bloomberg has come up with a report. Now, it's an interesting report. Remember, I spoke about, Manchester United takeover, and I connected it to Sir Jim Ratcliffe's, bid that is close to being accepted. And I said that I would not talk about that move until the board actually, accepts that offer, and then the information that comes out of a meeting that happened last week. I told you there was a board meeting last week to discuss the bid that Sir Jim Ratcliffe has made, to take up a quarter of the Manchester United shares. And I said that until we have details of the meeting, anybody who says they know what is happening about the takeover, they are lying. Until the details of that board meeting have been made public, nobody actually can say that they know what is happening now. The key information in this story that I want to make is the fact that Bloomberg, came out with a report just yesterday, and in the report they stated that shareholders of the Ineos Quattro, Ineos Quattro. Those of you who are not familiar with Ineos Quattro, it is a petrochemicals company set up by Sir Jim Ratcliffe as the head, and then it has other executives on the company, and of course it's listed on the stock exchange, so it has stakeholders who are interested in the club, creditors and stuff. Now the creditors actually were complaining. They were a bit, not complaining, but they were a bit, they needed reassurance that Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who is the president of Ineos Quattro, is not going to use the company funds to finance the bid for Manchester United. So the Bloomberg report actually stated that the executives at Ineos Quattro actually held a call with their company stakeholders to reassure them that any bid that Sir Jim Ratcliffe has made, to get a part of Manchester United, which is rumored to be around 1.4 billion pounds. They are saying that that money does not come from Ineos Quattro. It does not come from the liquidities of Ineos Quattro. That it comes from the personal funds of Sir Jim Ratcliffe himself. So that meeting was to reassure their stakeholders and people who have invested in the company that the company funds is not what is being used to buy a stake in Manchester United. So Sir Jim Ratcliffe's bid, Sir Jim Ratcliffe's bid is going to be the largest individual stakeholder at Manchester United when he buys a fourth of the shares. So he's going to be the single largest individual stakeholder at the club. Now if that happens, then the information we are getting is that it's going to make him that he will take over the sporting aspect of the club, and then the Glazers will take over the business aspects, the business running of the club. That is the information that is coming out. I don't know whether it is a leak from the board meeting that happened last week, but that is the information happening now. A lot of people are speculating that based on the information that has come out, then it means that a lot of the things that Sir Jim Ratcliffe has said about Manchester United in the past is actually going to be implemented. Now, what are some of the things he has said? He has said that the club have actually lost the plot in terms of transfer policy. So obviously it means that he's not happy with the transfer policy of Manchester United. He believes that the club needs to look at talents that are coming up and not already made talents. We need to look at players who are young and are actually actually have the potential to be great. A signing like Rasmus Højlund would obviously be welcomed by Sir Jim Ratcliffe, but it is said that he was very unhappy with the signing of Casemiro and Rafael Varane because he feels that they are players who are getting to the twilight of their career, and that although they have experience, he feels that United should be investing in young players, young talent, and the youth. Okay, so it shows that when he comes on board, a lot of his transfer policy will be based on buying youth players. Now that is the reason why my next story is going to be on this, that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is actually leading the charge, okay, to actually bring on Paul Mitchell as the sporting director. Now, United were already looking for a sporting director before the takeover rumors began. Okay, since last year, United have been searching for a sporting director. They've been interviewing a host of names. Okay, now in March of this year, they interviewed Paul Mitchell, and the information coming out from Old Trafford, courtesy of the Manchester Evening News, I think Rob Dawson, the writer, actually said that Paul Mitchell is actually the name that is on top of the list so far. Now, the information coming up is that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is actually in contact with Paul Mitchell, and that he wants Paul Mitchell to be the sporting director of Manchester United. Now, who is Paul Mitchell? Those of you who are not familiar with the name, Paul Mitchell is actually someone who's worked with MK Dons, he's worked with Tottenham, he's worked with a host of French clubs, he's worked with Ajax, and now he's currently working for AS Monaco. He is noted for his knowledge in players, player transfers. He's very good with young players. That is his specialty, bringing on talented young players who people have not really looked at but have potential to be great, and that has been his specialty. And so, bringing Paul Mitchell on board is a sign that the transfer strategy of Manchester United is going to change now. It means that we are going to be signing teenagers who are talented, who have potential to be great, and not the ready-made players that we've been signing in the past. So it's going to be a change in transfer policy for Manchester United over the next few years if Sir Jim Ratcliffe comes on board and Paul Mitchell is actually appointed as the sporting director of Manchester United. Now, see how that goes. Now, thank you for staying with me. This is Pious Football. If you are, just coming in, try and like and subscribe. Pious Football is also available on TikTok. So you just type Pious Football on TikTok. You are going to see my profile, and I have short videos of my stories in there that you can actually watch. Thank you very much for staying with me. Bye.